Welcome to Start with Occupancy, the podcast for senior living owners, operators, and sales professionals. Hi, I'm Tiffany, marketing strategist and former corporate baddie who got tired of producing results for Wall Street and wanted to make a change on Main Street. I provide quick tips, idea nuggets, and case studies to help you with proven sales, marketing, and business development strategies along with leadership concepts, so that you can inspire change, impact lives, and improve outcomes for the aging, their families, and your teams. I'm committed to equipping you with the tools, the knowledge, and resources that you need to excel in your business. With over 12 years of experience working inside senior living companies, large and small, I've developed a deep passion for advocating for the aging adult and those who care for them, all while driving business growth. So whether you're already in the senior care industry or maybe you would like to be, if your mission is to serve them, my mission is to serve you. Join me as we unravel the strategies and tactics that drive success in your business while making a difference in someone's life. The goal in 2024 is to touch, guide, and impact the lives of 10 families per month. Are you with me? It's time to be inspired, gain practical tips, and own your future.
My name is Tiffany Hill Allen, and this is the channel where we inspire change, we impact lives, and we improve outcomes, specifically for the senior living industry, and even more specifically for sales professionals within that industry. However, we are not exclusive because everyone in a community is responsible for sales, because each and every one of us touch seniors' lives in a really, really special way. I wanted to talk about today is being cognizant of who you're talking to. Who is that prospect that you're looking at connecting with? And what do I mean by that? We have various people who are influencing the decision for a older adult to move into our community, right? What does that look like? We'll just say number one, the adult child, maybe the influencer, that person who influences the decision and who's trying to drive the bus here, right? So that adult child, if they are a baby boomer, having children that's underneath them, sometimes grandchildren, some of them are just getting into the mode where they're about to retire or have just retired, and now they are looking after their mother or father or whoever the loved one is. And for them, they are about getting things done. They have a lot going on in their life, typically, and they're wanting to move things along. They are wanting solutions and answers. And in this day and age too, I would say you have two different people. You actually have the baby boomer who is the adult child. And now you also have my generation, Generation X. And for me, I have a child who's still in school, and I have my aging boomer parents who don't need anything now. But if it was me looking for someplace for my mom or my dad, and I still have my son who's in school, and then I still have another son who's an adult child and maybe even in college. When you're thinking about people who's either the early stage boomer, mean younger boomer, or somebody who's like myself, when they're looking for a transition of living for their loved ones, their parents, they're looking for solutions, and they want them fast because their life is hectic and things are going on right now. A lot of them are stressed. If it was me, I would be stressed. I can just tell you that it would be a lot going on and a lot for me to handle with my business, my son in school and dealing with school stuff. If I had a son in college, which a lot of my friends do, have college age students. So how can you help that person is rapid engagement, making it easier for them, giving them the resources that they need, that they can go to right away. That is how you would engage that type of prospect to come in. You know, not to come in, but just throughout the whole journey of this process. Asking them, what is their preferred method of contact? Is their preferred method texting? Is it email? Is it, phone calls? Asking those questions and seeing what is their preferred method of contact, and then also understanding where they are in their life will help you guide that conversation to be a help to them. The second person is the aging adult themselves, the actual prospect. No one wants to go into a situation where they don't feel like they're in control. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they've raised their own children already. They're now grandmothers or grandfathers, and then some even have great grands at this point in time. They feel like they have years of experience. This is the actual prospect. And they don't want to be treated like a child, which a lot of times through family dynamics, let's be honest, that's what happens. I hear a lot of people say, oh, my mom is now the child and I'm the adult. Yeah, well, try that, telling that to your mom. Like, I can't even begin to tell that to my mom because she'd be like, not having it, right? So what they are afraid of is that their independence are being taken away. Even if they're going into independent living, sometimes they will still fight you because, even though you're thinking it is a great idea, in terms of the adult child think it's a great idea, that person may not, and they may feel like they're losing their independence. So it is incumbent upon us, the professional inside the community, is to make sure that they feel that they will still have that independence that they need. My thing is this: when you have an adult child and a prospective resident coming into your office and coming to visit you at the same time, make sure you don't sway all your conversation to the adult child, even though that's the person who may have contacted you first. Make sure you include the prospect on an adult level, not like, oh, you're so cute. Oh my gosh. Like, no one wants to be that. They don't want that. That's not cool, right? What you do is you talk to them as if they're an adult, and you ask them their own questions. One question I always ask from my families, I would preface the question by saying to them, I'm asking both of you this question because I am sure I'm going to get two different answers. So I want you both to think about it because your desires are going to be different. The question is, what are you looking for, or what's important to you in the community that you're choosing to move into, or that you would want your mother, father, whoever it was, to move into? So I'm asking you both the same question, but I know their answers are going to be different. And giving them both a question so that they can hear each other out also really went well in that conversation, because it might have been the first time that the mother or father heard what the concerns were from the daughter in a heartfelt message, because she's talking to me. They're not talking to each other. I hope that makes sense. And the same thing, how often do we hear the adult child is like, I'm really worried. I'm really worried about my mom falling, and I'm not going to be there to know that she fell. And then the mother only hears, Mom, you need to go here. You need to go here. You need to look at this. Something's going to happen. But she doesn't hear the heart of the child until she's in that situation. And us as sales professionals in this industry, I think it's up to us to help navigate that family to make sure they're able to understand that. Likewise, for the daughter, hearing what the mother's concern is, what is important to her. The mom's like, well, I want to make sure that I still have happy hour and can be with my friends. And I'm afraid this, am I going to be able to get up and go to lunch whenever I want to? And most times it is so small, but what looks small to us, it's huge to them. And we need to honor that. We need to make sure that we understand what their concerns are and be able to answer that for them, right? So when you're talking to the actual prospect, whether they are a later baby boomer, a war era family member, we need to honor who they are and make sure that we reinforce that their independence will not be stripped from them. One of my sales managers said to me when she was talking with a family, and I thought it was just so great. She said, I'll call it Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Smith, by coming and moving in with us, you're going to gain more independence than where you are now. And I thought about that. And then she laid out why. Right now, you're relying on your son to bring you your food. Right now, you're relying on your daughter to make all your appointments. Right now, you're doing this. But you know what? When you're here, You get to do what you want. You get to go to Walmart when you want. You get to do this when you want. Everything is now going to be on your terms and you're not waiting for anybody. Doesn't that sound better to you? And the woman was like, oh my God, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so sometimes it's a matter of perspective and how you look at it. I wanted to put that in your ear. For the adult child, they want solutions and answers, right? For that prospective resident, they don't want their independence to be stripped from them, even if they're going to independent living, right? Food and activities, what engagements do they have? It better be like a cruise ship on an independent living community, right? They want to have parties. They're wanting their life to be more engaged, with some oversight and very minimal, but some, right? So that's the whole point about being with independent living compared to assisted living, right? The next person that you have to consider when you're doing an interview for someone to come into your community, or who's looking at your community as an option for them, is the spouse of the partner who has to come. Sometimes in assisted, most independent living, they're together, right? So that's not even an issue. In assisted living and memory care more especially, you have to be careful on how you're forming your words. You have to honor that spouse who's looking for his or her significant other, whatever that looks like. Because you can almost diminish what that person, I don't want to say means to them, but as a spouse, they have made a bond and a commitment with each other, right? And especially depending on the generation, the wartime generation, is all about, this is my duty. I'm supposed to take care of my wife. I have always taken care of my husband. This is my job. And through the process of caregiving, that is now their job. They look at it as, this is my duty. So you coming to them like, oh, you don't have to worry about this. This is going to be so much greater. And we're going to be able to take care of all this for him. Da, da, da. Sometimes they don't want to hear that. That's actually opposite of what they want, right? They want to still feel like they're the ones that's taking care of their husband or wife. So you have to include them into that conversation. And the way to do that is by saying that it's a partnership, that you're actually wanting to partner with them in the care of, especially with memory care. Memory care, my grandfather, oh my God, he was like, nope, no one's taking my wife out of my house. No. And, he's a wartime era person. And he was like, no, this isn't going to happen. And unfortunately, I had to get to the point where there was no other option. She had to go. She had to. And it was hard for him. I get really emotional thinking about what my grandparents went through. So I'm sorry. But that spouse wants to know that they are part of the planning process, that you are actually partnering with them, that they are still the main caregiver. And that is something I always emphasized with, especially if they've been married 50 or 60, like no matter what, to be honest, it's, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, they feel like that is their duty. And so I say that because you want to make sure your conversation is like, well, with your help, Mr. So-and-so, this is how we together can care for Carol. Let's call it Carol, right? With your guidance, this is why we want to partner with you. That is the conversation that needs to be had when it is the partner of the prospective resident. Keeping in mind who you're talking to when it comes to having a family member sit down with you. So hopefully this all helps. And I am so happy to serve you in any way I can. Please, as always, subscribe to the podcast for more information and alerts on what we're doing here at Start with Occupancy. You can always find me on Instagram at Tiffany Hill Allen or on Facebook, Start with Occupancy. I just am looking forward to serving you each and every single day.